I'm doing a refutation on information and communication technology has the greatest effect on American health. And my opponent's secondary claims are that ICT has advanced, so has obesity. ICT has led us to become increasingly sedentary and an active lifestyle due to ICT has its immediate and long-term effects. And so the first two, just reading this, I can tell there's a logical, it's not logical, but I'll go with the first supporting claim. So the first secondary claim evidence, for every 10% increase in communication technology investment, there's a 1.4% increase in obesity rates. Childhood obesity has more than doubled in children, quadrupled in adolescents in the past 30 years, and ICT has grown in the past 30 years, so has obesity. Well, ICT has grown in 30 years, so have I. I mean, does ICT make me grow? No. So how does ICT relate to obesity? There's no correlation to it. The only correlation that the opponent gives is that for every 10% increase, there's a 1.4% increase in obesity rate. That is a weak correlation because that's going by logic, not by medical data. So if he wants to make a solid evidence, he'll have to give a medical data rather than just using implications. I could say that potato chips increase obese people, which is like, wow, because people watch TV and people eat potato chips, making people obese. So according to the American Psychological Association, people found that increased advertising for foods such as potato chips raises childhood obesity, and people between 6 can differentiate between that advertising and programming, so they're more likely to not know what's the difference between what the advertisers are baiting the children to do. And so yeah. Second supporting claim evidence is that people spend second secondary claim evidence from the opponents that many people spend hours in front of TVs and computers doing work, schoolwork, and leisure activities. More than 2 hours a day of regular TV viewing time has been linked to overweight and obesity, and the average child can spend upwards of 7 hours of TV usage in video games per day. Well, I mean, it's like a sedentary lifestyle doesn't mean that it increases obesity. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like if you have a sedentary lifestyle, you watch TV, you could also eat potato chips. That's also increased obesity, but you're also sedentary, which is illogical. So I mean, I could put the same evidence. It was like more hours of commercial TV children, the evidence that exposure to food ads rather than watching television itself contributes obesity from a study that tracks TV viewing habits and a change in BMI from 1,100 young children over a 5-year period. The more hours per day of commercial TV children watch at the start of the study, the more likely they were to have a relative increase in BMI at the studies, and according to Harvard School of Public Health. So, and the third supporting evidence that the opponents give is that immediate effects of ICT-induced obesity are grave. Obese youth have more likely to have risk factors for cardiovascular disease such as high cholesterol or high blood pressure, and an inactive lifestyle raises risk for coronary heart disease and other health problems. So, the opponents claims that it's obesity that is grave, but I mean, it's not ICT. It's describing obesity as a health factor, and it doesn't really connect to ICT as I said before. So, so it's impossible to say that obesity is not linked to health problems. So, might as well just say the health then that ICT can improve healthcare. So, so that ICT improves healthcare by real-time financial management, and increases and in an outpatient case, and in one case, this decreases. Outpatient case has significantly increased compared to it decreases the shortening of 15 to 19 health facilities and global hospital mortality worldwide. Thank you.
All right, I think you've got a little bit of a problem because I think you go after the wrong thing on this particular issue. You're going after the notion that there's a relationship between access to this technology and sedentary lifestyles, and I think that probably doesn't help you very much. You don't have any evidence that denies that relationship. They've got a statistical correlation that suggests it. Does it prove a causality issue? No, but we don't have any other explanation. I think that's what you need. I think you need another explanation as to why people are either leading more sedentary lifestyles or other reasons why they're becoming obese that have nothing to do with the amount of time that they're exposed to the ICT. There are a couple of things about that. For instance, the changing in lifestyles is dramatic. That has nothing to do with the technology and everything to do with the social changes that are going on. We live in a different way than we did 40 years ago. 40 years ago, women didn't work outside of the home. They stayed home and prepared meals for the kids, that sort of thing, and checked on that sort of stuff. But today they're secondary earners or main household earners, or there are more single parent families that are trying to get by, and so they don't have the same kinds of lifestyle issues that they had before. I think you want to look for that as a counter-causality. You kind of try to deny that sedentary lifestyle has anything to do with obesity, and nobody's going to buy that one. I mean, everybody is going to believe, that's pretty much a premise. If you're sedentary, you're much more likely, you're not burning the calories that you need to burn. So I think you have the right idea here when you talk about, well, you could do the same thing from eating potato chips and watching TV. But that's kind of what the advocate's saying is that's what we're doing. And it's not, because I don't think they're limited to, and in fact, their own evidence mentions that it's, the exposure to television and the exposure to the computer technology. So I think, they would probably just throw their hands up and say, yeah, whether they're playing video games and eating potato chips, whether they're watching TV and eating potato chips, it's that kind of technology that causes them to become sedentary and become obese. And I think you want to argue the obesity thing is a result of other issues rather than trying to deny that there's a relationship to a sedentary lifestyle from engaging in these sorts of behaviors. I don't think that adds much credibility. I did think that you had an interesting argument at the end that needed to be a little bit clearer, and that is that the ICT can actually help improve people's health status by helping them manage their health more, pay attention, and I think there are some explanations that you go there. It sounds like it's a financial issue, but it's also, keeping track of how much calories go in, how much calories go out, how much activity there is, that sort of thing. And the ICT information can help people do those kinds of things. It's like having that app on your phone that you're looking at right now that I don't know who's looking at which apps on which phone. You know, I'm sure that you're all looking at the ones checking to see what your calorie content is every day. As they turn around and see the 3 people on their phones checking things out. You know, just double checking. You know, that would be an example of something that would be helpful. And that, like I said, that sounded to me like what your counter argument was at the end. And I think that would be a good one to develop too.